Hello everyone, good evening. I'm putting together this quick video today to go over one of the topics or fixes that came up quite a bit at the Burn the Forest Fix-It station at up in Merritt this past the event like a week ago, was fixing hair flowers. So I realized I have done a lot of hair flowers, or have a lot, and or have made a fair number over the years, and wanted to go over some tips for how to, if people are wanting to gift things like hair flowers, how to make them so they don't become Moop on the playa or at the festival that you're at, if they care about Leave No Trace, which hopefully they do, or things like Burn the Forest or Burner regional type events. So most common type you might see is like this kind here, that has this like little basic clip kind of thing. And you'll see here that it has felt. So it has felt not just covering the back of the flower and where everything is glued together, but also a strip of felt that is going underneath. Oh, fuck, sorry. I'm not a YouTuber. This is going to be all one take. So it has a piece of felt that is basically like hiding the top piece of the clip. So I'm going to show you an example of one that doesn't have that. This is like the worst kind of hair thing to ever take anywhere. It was for a bachelorette party. They are made us favors. They fulfilled their purpose for that day. You can see here it's a shitty clip that can only go in certain types of hair, unlike this one here that can clip onto hat brims or whatnot as well. It is also just hot glued in onto fun foam. No, please don't do this. Basically, the movement of if you were going to wear this for more than, an hour or two long bachelorette event, the movement will slowly get pull this barrette part away from the fun foam, and then it will fall off, and then you will have all this feather Moop at your event. So one like this is good. I'll talk in a sec about why it's not the best orientation for the foam. So we can see on these ones here, I think these were made by a local burlesque artist in Vancouver, Maggie Pie, I believe. They have a long strip that is at a right angle to the clip itself. So not only has this artist done a great job like making sure that the clips kind of match the color of the barrette that they're doing, they're using the piece of felt to create the support that the flower needs, and that the clip needs, to stay attached to the flower. And I can't see it in there, but I believe there's like kind of a bunch of hot glue in there to kind of create a kind of stand thing that we've got going on. So those ones are really good examples of how to affix a flower. And then also, good example of what you can do in the middle. So this one is just really well made. All of these ones from Maggie Pie are. I have worn the fuck out of them. They are not falling apart. They're glued all over. I can't get in it to see it because it's really well made. But this is not coming apart. They're just, yeah, great. And it's a great example of how if you don't have a center of your flower, you can use like vintage jewelry that's pretty and sparkly, or especially if you only have singletons, or like funky buttons and so on. Anyway, so another type of foam, like this is one, again, ignore that it has feathers, but this is from Fairy Worlds in like 2008, I want to say, maybe 2009. And this, I don't know who made it, I'm sorry, but because there's a lot of this stuff is actually like hand beaded on, these beads here and so on, they put a piece of felt on the back that's quite large to cover up all of those kind of thread connections and ends and starts. And they've taken a big kind of oval-ish piece and then cut 2 slits in it for the clip to go through. And that works really, really well. The only downside is that, as you can kind of see, the clip is oriented so that it kind of upside down from what my preference is. I like it to curve around my head, and that would be that way. You can see where the clip wants to kind of, whoops, sorry, my dirty, or cluttered, I should say, dining room table, or coffee table. Anyway, you want the curve to be the opposite direction of that, so that it is curving around the person's head. Like this one. Look at that. It's not actually curved on this one, but it's not gonna, the clip pop-out part is up here, so it's not gonna be sticking into someone's head. That's what you want. This one, Okay, ignoring that it is feathers, pretend if you know you're going to apply them, maybe you want some like plastic feathers or something pokey and sticky. So this one is done pretty well because I don't even know where you can buy these things. I've only seen them on commercial flowers, which I'll show another one of in a second. But you can see how it has taken this tiny little piece and put it on a much bigger base, and it is really well glued in there. All those feathers are really well secured together, and then they're also really well secured to the material, sorry, the clasp, if you will, the clip itself. And the ones that do have the combined like thing with the pins are great because you can put them on a hat without having to clip on the brim and so on. So they're a little bit more versatile if you're gonna like gift them. But again, I'm sure they're online somewhere, but anyway. If you don't have pieces of felt, this person is making this flower has taken the greenery that usually comes with fake flowers and basically used that as the base to support the flower and the clip. So you can see they've got like they used a big green leaf as the main base backing of the flower and put a smaller one on top. There's quite a lot of glue on there and it is really nice and secure. You can see that it is like the good angle to go on someone's head. The clip pokey part is not going to poke into your head. It does have a lot of rhinestones on it. If you are going to put rhinestones on any flowers, make sure to test out the glue that you're using to make sure it won't come off if it gets wet. Maybe not as much of an issue for Burning Man in Nevada, but for any regionals like Soak or like Burn the Forest where it poured rain on us, you want to make sure that you're not some glues that people use for rhinestones are not meant for outdoor applications, and the rhinestones will fall off, and then you will be sad, and you will be picking up, hopefully, all of the little bits of rhinestones that you left behind. Probably LNT, which I did this year, will also be picking up some of those because they catch the sun like nobody's business. So just make sure that if you are going to glue any shit onto them, that you are using a glue that will keep them on there in all weather. But so back to the backs. So this works quite well, as you can see. So here's one as well that is a flower that has that kind of combination back. I'm going to show you how to adapt this one a little bit. It's, like I said, it's a commercial one that I purchased, I think, flea market in Las Vegas at Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend years ago. And it's not as secure as I would like. I would not take this to a Leave No Trace event right now, but I'm going to show you quickly how to adjust that. If you're super keener like me, you could also just stitch your clips on. So this one is actually made as like a dress clip, or like to hold two pieces of fabric together to cinch in a dress. But I use these vintage earrings and I had to pair them, so I didn't want to ruin them with hot glue, so I actually like stitched them on. But that is great even if you are not super handy with the needle and thread. Putting a couple stitches through all the layers of petals will really help with securing it, and then you can either tie it in a knot at the back or like loop it around the clip like on here. So this is one that a friend of mine made. So the flower part itself has stitching in it. I'm not sure if you can see it because it's just right in the middle. I found it earlier, but I can't seem to find it now. It is stitched in there and held together, and it does have the felt on the back here, but it doesn't have that extra piece that will really help keep it secure. This type of clip is better than the shitty, I threw it away because it doesn't work, the crappy like barrette kind of type clip. I'm not sure if you can see it even under all this bloody feathers. This kind of crappy. So this one is the better clip, but it is limited in it because it has more likelihood to fall off. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Okay, so I shifted the camera a little bit. I'm going to try and keep it in frame. Basically, take my handy fucking glue gun, and before I take the glue gun, I have a piece of felt that I have cut to be about the same size as what I'm going to put down there. It's a little bit smaller, which is fine. So what we're going to do is basically take our glue gun. Whoops, that was maybe a bit much. Put some down there. Put some down the other side. Put it aside. And put the felt right there. The nice thing about putting felt on it as well is that you can kind of push it down a little bit harder as well without burning your fingers quite as much as if you just try to do that with straight hot glue. There are bits coming up, so I'll just quickly put those down. Ow, okay, that was quite hot. I did say I was going to do this in only one take, but I accidentally clicked the wrong button at the end of the last segment. So, yeah, good times. So there we go. That is now more secure. That clip is more likely to stay in place throughout all of the shenanigans that you can throw at it. Okay, so if you are taking like regular hair flowers, so I mentioned this one. This is one that I purchased again at a flea market. I don't want to take it all the way apart. It's still got some glue on it, but what I'm concerned about, and what we saw a lot at the Fix-It station, was there's no glue like between these layers. And same with like this top piece, there's nothing, it's really holding that in. So what I want to do is take my trusty glue gun, try and not burn yourself while taking footage, and just shove a bunch of glue into the center of the flower and push it down. And then between each of these layers, you don't need to do like the full circuit or like full circle around the whole thing, but at least get some glue in between those layers so that if the, this center part pops off or something, it's not all gonna fall apart. So in there, a little bit of a layer in there. I probably should have been turning this around a little bit because we're gonna end up with a little bit of bulk on one side. That's fine though. It's a hair flower. So there we go. That is going to help it be a lot more secure if you take it somewhere and don't want to leave garbage all around when you are camping. So I'm going to add a little bit more in there. It's still quite hot, hasn't set because I put quite a bit in there at the beginning. And there we go. Might stick a little bit in here. Always wait like till the end to remove your like white or the threads of the glue between the pieces. Or sorry, when you are doing glue, hot glue, if you are not indoctrinated into it yet, you have all these little like white pieces. You like little stringy bits between. You want to wait for it to cool to really pull those off. Otherwise, you'll just keep pulling it and pulling it and pulling it, and it seems like it will never end. So there we go. We've secured that flower a lot more now. Once it is fully set and the glue has cooled off, it will be kept in place much better. Hooray! Okay, so if you have a flower, like this is a generic, Dollarama kind of flower, not quite as nice as like what you might get at Michael's or whatever, but it's got multiple layers, it's pretty. I really don't like these middle parts though. I think they're kind of ugly, and like you can kind of see like there's pieces that can just come off them. So what I like to do is kind of pull them out. You can't just like take a flower, even if it wasn't kind of a moopy middle, and just, slap a barrette on and call it good, because it has this extra weird dimensional kind of thing. So what you want to do is basically like pull that out. So what you want to do as well, maybe before you do this, and I've kind of prepped this for the video, is find a button or something that you kind of want to put in the middle and thread like some pipe cleaners. I like because all these little tiny bits of like the hair, quote unquote, on the pipe cleaner will catch the glue. And that's what really makes like a glue gun work really well, is when the glue can kind of attach to all these tiny little pieces. So I just have it ready. These two pieces are gonna basically, or 2 pieces of the pipe cleaner are gonna go through once I pull this out and replace it. So just gonna pull out. Sometimes you'll need to cut on one end or the other to get it out. This one is sliding out pretty smoothly, and you do want to try and keep it like together. Sorry, words failing. You don't want it to all come apart. Ideally, you have a nice little hole you can kind of see through there, and then you can just shove those 2 little pieces of pipe cleaner down through it and pull them out the back. Now, you also don't want this piece here. You just don't really need it. And also like it is weirdly like multidimensional, so like that is not very much space to affix to the flower. So what you want is to have those going through the back. And then what you can do, I really like these. They're from one of the local kind of dollar store places, and they have these holes in them. So for the ultimate in ensuring minimal moop, you can even thread these through here. Pull them through, and you could just twist them. I'm not going to do that because we're going to glue it, and I don't want to create extra bulk, and I think that twisting kind of creates extra bulk. So what I'm going to do is kind of basically, sorry, pardon me, I forgot one little step here. What I like to do as well is, hey glue gun, how you doing? Just add a little bit of glue there as well. So just right in the kind of join spot so that you are getting it kind of through those layers. You're going to get lots of little stringy bits. That's fine. You can deal with them afterwards. And just shoving it through there. And then, so you've got it, you don't want enough that it'll like be coming up, but just enough that'll kind of saturate it, if you will. Oops. If you pull this up as well, you can also, oops, pardon me. You can, if you want to, this is a time when you can like flip this around. So like right now, it's kind of not as dimensional as it could be because all of these, like there's 2 or 3 layers here, but they're all kind of stacked exactly. Well, we've got this loose is when we can kind of shift it a little bit and just create a little bit of extra dimension with the flower by kind of staggering those. Think of it like as the movie, like in a movie theater, you don't want to be sitting right behind the person in front of you. Right? Yeah. You want to stagger it a little bit so that you can see through the gaps, right? So this is the time to do that. And then what you can do before you get that down is just do some little dabs in the gaps just to hold it in place. You don't need a ton of glue, just a little bit to just keep it in that spot. The pipe cleaner wire is really going to do the most of the like secure holding for us with this. And it kind of wants to, I'm going to do a little bit on this side too. Okay, parfait. So, I'm going to pull this down. So I've got the pipe cleaner pulled through to the base. I'm going to put one piece of the pipe cleaner on each side. And what I'm going to do is basically like kind of baste this clip down before I apply any of the glue to it. Or sorry, any of the backing kind of product, like the leaf or felt or whatnot. So just going to put a bead of the glue on the back of the pin or the hair clip and push it down onto one of the petals. And kind of same thing with the other side of it. And as you can see, I've just kind of wedged a spirit glue stick in there to keep it from closing. I don't want it to glue the bottom of the clip to glue onto the glue there. Okay. Oops. And a little bit more glue on this side too. And put it onto a clip there. And same thing with the pipe cleaner. Pushing it down. And same thing there. Perfect. So for the leaf kind of covering, most fake flowers will come with kind of leaves and stuff. You can, they usually have kind of plastic veins on them. You can just pull those right off and you have a pretty nice piece. You could use, these are all one piece, but you could pull it off just as easily of the plastic. You don't need the plastic part. And also just cut those down to size so that you could use 2 of them if you wanted to, or cut them there. You don't need to worry about finishing it too much because you're going to be gluing it on. Get that out of the way. Okay. So what we want to do is basically, get an idea of the size of your leaf. Perfect. Gonna go like that. And so we're gonna put a bunch of glue. Gonna do one side. Probably should have done it from this side. It's okay. And shove that in there. Ow! And I know I said previously in this little video that kind of having it at a right angle to the clip is really helpful, but this is wider. This is like a good inch wide, so I feel like that's a good amount of space to have, a good amount of like backing to support the hair clip. You could do the leaf that way, that way as well if you wanted to, or add another leaf as well if you wanted to. Those are all kind of options available to you if you want. I don't actually have wire clippers handy anywhere near me, so those pipe cleaners I probably should have cut down a little bit. That's fine, I'll do that once I'm done. I don't want to make this video too long. It's already more than one take because I burnt myself trying to do the previous flower. Shh. So we're going to do the other side, and basically just want to make sure you get glue all over. It's okay if it's kind of thick, just need to wait for it to cool. And then rather than touching it too much here, you can kind of push through with, you can use a spare glue stick to push down as well. I really love these silicone surface things. You can get them at Dollarama for like a couple bucks, and means that you don't need to worry quite as much about like getting hot glue stuck to things, because it just comes off quite easily. But you can also just usually not too much comes through all the layers. Yeah, I can feel it. There aren't any. But you can also like just push it gently from the nice side of the flower as well, to get it going. And then once I've cut those, might need a little bit more at the end there, but otherwise we are pretty good, in pretty good shape. And you have a nice little hair flower that is, once it's all cooled off, you can pull off little stringy bits, and you have a hair flower minus those pipe cleaners that is going to last and not leave Moop matter out of place all over on the playa or at your event, whether it's burning like a regional burn or whatever. Okay, enjoy.